This was a scene from Varanasi of the Mankarnika temple, and so basically I sketched the whole thing as much as possible, not in minute details, but there were too many shapes, and then putting some basic bright accents. Uh, this is not a very conventional approach in the sense do the sky, then do the washes, give a complete wash, glaze it, and then brush okay. This is like a little different approach, I would say. Like start with the center of attraction and then going radially outwards, or start with the impact color points and then move across, going into more browns, grays, and neutrals. Keep the primaries, secondaries in the center, that kind of a thing. So little burns here now, mostly. Adding little phthalo blue with burnt sienna, making it almost grey. So neutral, basically, slightly warm, slightly blue, moving on either warm and cool side. More ultramarine, making the brown move towards a little cooler side. This is manganese, one of my favorite manganese connector, added with brown, making a very cool grey rather. Touch of crimson. So Varanasi is a place where you see lots of temples and temple whatever coming up behind the buildings. So the fun is mostly about what I would say, a combination of shapes. Temple ends, the building begins. There are buildings moving within the temples, and many temple towers, goddess as we call them, are seen. So Varanasi, as I also mentioned in my book, it is like a Disneyland. One can say it's a religious Disneyland. The artist will get whatever his muse in Varanasi. A musician will find his muse. A lot of the tourists who come, the foreign tourists who come to see the Indian culture, they will find almost everything that they need to know in Varanasi. And of course, there is a huge bunch of religious people who come to Varanasi for their own reasons. So Varanasi will house everything, everyone. So it's absolute Disneyland if you ask me. So painting Varanasi has always been my favorite thing from many point of view, because I get all my shapes, I get mixture of colors, I get all the textures, and even the architecture has a animated movement between it, if you know what I mean. Whether there are figures or people, sans them, the architecture will also almost feel like people. What I mean to say, like a crowd of people. Now adding touches of opaque white which will indicate, what, those are small tiny figures along the bank, and little touches of red, blue, boats, black, and dots, and yeah, almost boats, water, and water, as I call it, almost like a three world. It will reflect the thing, it will show the depth, and yeah. I mean, but this particular Mankarnika Ghat, whatever rituals happen there are a little different, of course, but it's a very interesting thing to paint. Every time I see it, I go there. I have also mentioned about it in the book. So this is like almost end of the story, but very interesting to paint. A little tiny dots to finish the painting, and yeah. Some details I think that might contribute or that might end up into overwork, but there's only one way to know, as they say. So